Start where you are, use what you have, do what you can. Introduction. The legendary tennis player Arthur Ashe came up with the quote, "Start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can," to inspire people. It certainly worked for him, as he was the Wimbledon tennis champion and he achieved other honors in the game. But what does this really mean, and how can you use this powerful quote to your advantage? In this special report, we fully dissect the quote and show you how you can apply it to your life so that you can change it for the better. There is a very important part of this quote that most people do not mention. The original quote from Arthur Ashe was, "To achieve greatness, start where you are, use what you have, do what you can." Achieving greatness means different things to different people, but it is essential that you understand that this is part of the quote. What this quote is really all about is taking on new challenges in your life. Most people tend to live within their comfort zone and don't want to move outside of it. These are the same people that are always bitching and complaining that their life is not as they want it. By taking on new challenges and reaching beyond your comfort zone, you will grow as a person. Sitting in front of the TV for hours each day or wasting tons of your valuable time on social media is not growing. Okay, you might not be interested in tennis or want to win the Wimbledon championship. That doesn't really matter at all. There are plenty of other ways that you can challenge yourself to improve your life. The reason that most people choose not to challenge themselves is because it is hard work. When you decide to do something challenging, it is very likely that you will have to overcome a number of obstacles to get there. You have to be able to see beyond the frustrations that these setbacks create within you. Achieving the goal that you have set yourself requires that you accept these frustrations and concentrate on the small improvements that you are making by rigorously pursuing the challenge. Why should you trust this quote? Unfortunately, Arthur Ashe is no longer with us, but he will always be fondly remembered for his ability on the tennis court and the other great things that he did in his life. You need to understand all of the context here to appreciate what a great man he was. If you don't know anything about Arthur Ashe, the first thing to know is that he was a black man. Why is this important? Because he grew up in a bad time when there was a lot of ingrained racism. It was a time when racism was institutionalized and things like segregation were going on. Ashe made the successful transition from an amateur tennis player to a professional one during this time. This was a great achievement, as he found himself excluded from some courts and competitions due to the color of his skin. But he didn't let that stop him pursuing his dream. He was the first player to win the US Open Tennis Championship when it changed to the Open era. Even more remarkable than that, he won the Wimbledon Tennis Championship in England in 1975. His opponent in the final at Wimbledon was Jimmy Connors. Connors was suing Ashe due to the comments he made against him in his position as president of the ATP, the Association of Tennis Professionals. Ashe was also an activist for a number of different causes such as AIDS, education, segregation, apartheid, and more. He believed that things should be the best they could be for everyone. He believed that he could do something about this, and he spoke out about it often. When he spoke out, it wasn't to complain. He spoke out to encourage change. He was actually elected the president of the ATP. He had to have 2 heart bypass operations, and then he became the chairman of the American Heart Association. In 1988, Ashe had to have a blood transfusion, and he contracted AIDS from this. This motivated him to set up the Arthur Ashe Foundation, which he did to promote awareness of the disease. He made a moving speech at the UN General Assembly. He died in 1993, and in the same year was posthumously awarded a Presidential Medal of Freedom by Bill Clinton. So, as you can see from this, Arthur Ashe did achieve greatness, not just on the tennis court. He was always working hard for the things that he believed in and was ready to stand up and be counted to provide more freedom for others. The mistake that most people make in their lives is that they do not have the belief that they can achieve greatness. This has a different meaning for everyone, but fundamentally, it means that they do not have the belief that they can achieve anything that is challenging. If you are in this position, then you need to change your current mindset to one of excellence. This is not just about personal gain, but doing things for the good of others as well. When you decide to make a change to this kind of thinking, you will no longer be able to make the excuses that you may have made before. It will be time to change your belief that great things only happen to others and not to you. Great things rarely just happen. The people that want to achieve the greatness make this happen themselves. They start where they are, use what they have, and do what they can. There are many people that fear failure so much that they just won't start anything challenging. Failure is a part of life, and you just need to accept this, then go for it anyway. Failing your way to success is something that everyone does. So let's break down the 3 parts of this famous quote to fully understand what they mean and how you can apply them to achieve your own greatness. 1. Start where you are. This can mean different things. You can interpret this to mean that you are starting from where you are from a financial perspective, your age, your current physical condition, and so on. Or you could just interpret it to mean where you currently are in life. Too many people will not start with a challenge to make their life better because they feel that they are not in the right place. They do not have the money to start the business that they have always dreamed of, for example. So they use this as an excuse not to get started. They are too scared to go out there and raise money for their dream business. Their fear of failure is so great that it prevents them from creating a good business plan and meeting with potential investors. They do not have the self-confidence to see this through, so they do nothing instead. Sometimes people feel that they need some form of permission from others to get started on something. They need the approval of a person or a group of people. You do not want to be here. You never need anyone else's permission to change your life for the better. It is easy to come up with more reasons not to start a challenge than it is to come up with a solid reason to get going. The economy is not right. There may be a change of government. It is just not the right time, and so it goes on. It wasn't the right time for Arthur Ashe to win the US Open and the Wimbledon Tennis Championship, but he did it despite this. He didn't dream up his excuses for failure like most people do. He pursued his dream relentlessly and made it happen. But nothing would have happened if he didn't make a start. All successful people make a start. They do not care what is going on with their life or what their financial situation is. They brush aside the fact that the economy is not as good as it could be and that there is a strong rumor that there will be a change of government. They are not waiting for the perfect time to start because a perfect time does not exist and will never exist. These people do not concern themselves that they do not have all of the resources that they need. Instead, they are resourceful and make things happen. When you are resourceful, it doesn't matter what resources you have to hand. You will always find a way to achieve something. If you don't have a computer and you need one, then beg someone to lend you one, for example. You can give some people all of the resources that they need to get going with something, and they will still come up with excuses as to why they cannot start. Don't be like this. Decide that you are resourceful right now and make a start. Successful and great people do not fear failure either. Did you know that Walt Disney was rejected by over 300 financial institutions for his Disneyland idea? Well, he was, but he kept going because he totally believed in the project. Finally, a bank said yes to his proposal, and the rest is history. You can start your challenge wherever you are at this moment. It is not essential that you are sitting at your desk with your computer. Just write down the ideas that you have and what you need to do to start. You can do this in the toilet or anywhere else on the planet. Believing that you have to be in the right place to begin your greatness challenge is just nonsense. Just start where you are. The message here is clear. Just get started. Stop the excuses for why you cannot begin your journey to greatness and just begin right now. Ignore what else is going on in the world. The only thing that is stopping you is you. 2. Use what you have. We interpret this part of the quote as meaning using the unique characteristics, skills, and assets that you have to achieve your challenge. What you need to do is take some time out and assess what you have right now. It will always be more than you think. Don't worry if you do not have all of the skills that you need to complete your journey to greatness. With the right amount of determination, you can learn these skills as you go along. The most important thing that you can do today is to identify the skills that you currently have. Once you know what you have right now, then think about how you can use these things to achieve greatness. Often, this will be a combination of your skills, characteristics, and assets. It doesn't matter that you don't have $1 million to start a business or that you don't have a top-of-the-line computer loaded with all the latest software. It may take a while for you to identify what you have right now. Some things will not be obvious to you right away. So, take your time over this exercise. Ask yourself the question, what useful things do I have right now? And then make your subconscious mind come back to you with answers. Also ask yourself the question, what do I have right now that will provide me with an unfair advantage? Write down everything that comes to mind. If the ideas dry up, then ask yourself the questions again. You might find that your mind starts to wander when you are trying to take stock of what you have. If this happens, then just refocus on the questions. Take a short break if you need to, and then come back to this exercise. Always believe that you have things in your life right now that you can use to be great. Most people believe that they do not have anything, but this is not true. They are just too lazy to explore what they have. Thinking takes effort, and this is something that the average person will avoid. But you are not average, and you want to be great. So, use what you have. 3. Do what you can. This is the only area of the quote that we have a problem with. Arthur Ashe had good intentions when he created this part of the quote, but in our opinion, he could have used different words here. A small change to the words would make a huge difference. Instead of do what you can, we recommend replacing this with do all that you can. Think about this. If you want to achieve greatness, then you will have to work harder than you are now. You may have a full-time job, which means that you can only pursue your greatness in the evenings after work and on weekends. This is fine. But always be aware that it is going to take a lot of motivation sometimes to pursue your challenge after a long day at work. You need to make time to pursue your greatness. A lot of people that set out to achieve challenging goals fail because they let life get in the way. Instead of pursuing their challenge relentlessly, they take a half-hearted approach to it. After all, they cannot miss those classic repeats of their favorite television series, can they? If you are in a relationship and have a family, then this is not going to be easy. But sacrifices have to be made if you want to achieve greatness. Discuss this with your family and make them understand how important this is for you and for them. Set yourself deadlines to push you to work on your greatness every day. Work out a way that you can still spend some time with your family and pursue your dreams. Many other people have done this, and you can do it too. Cut out all of the meaningless distractions in your life. Forget about watching junk on TV. If you are a social media addict, then limit the amount of time that you spend on it. Spending hours on social media is a colossal waste of your precious time. Make your challenge an obsession. Create a strong why so that you can motivate yourself when the going gets tough. And it will get tough at times. Write down your goal and have copies of it everywhere so that no matter where you go in your home, you will be reminded of it. Read your goal out loud when you get up in the morning and before you go to bed at night. Perhaps now you can see why we were concerned about the statement, do what you can. If you take it literally, then it can always provide you with a way out. I got home late from work and I was too tired to finish my tasks for greatness today. I did what I could. Ashe didn't mean this when he wrote the quote. We strongly believe that he meant to say, do all that you can. But who are we to change the great man's quote? The point is that we want to help you here, and the right words are important to inspire you to keep going despite what is going on around you. Do what you can, or even better, do all that you can. So there you have it. It is our interpretation of the great Arthur Ashe's famous quote that we strongly recommend that you use as a blueprint for your life going forward. Don't accept a mediocre life and strive for greatness. Make greatness an addiction in your life. Don't listen to negativity from others about what you are trying to achieve. If you know that you are going to get a negative reaction from someone, then don't share your dreams with them. Believe that you can achieve anything, because you can. Arthur Ashe believed that and achieved success completely against the odds. Never let anything or anyone stand in the way of achieving your greatness. You need to change your mindset to one of resourcefulness. When you are resourceful, anything is possible. You do not have to wait for anything or anyone. Do you think that all of the successful people in the world had all of the resources that they needed at the start? Of course they didn't. They used their resourcefulness to get them through and figured everything out as they went along. So, start with what you have today. Think how you can use what you have for your challenge and do all that you can to achieve it. Conclusion. Arthur Ashe was a great man. In his relatively short time on the planet, he achieved more things than most people could even dream of. His quote, start where you are, use what you have, do what you can, is a great one to live by. So, get started on your journey to greatness right now.